What's up, guys? It's Chris. Welcome to BHP News. I'm not too sure how this is gonna show up, so I'm gonna be like kind of bobbing and weaving back and forth while I'm taking the measurements here. So real quick, I'm not sure if I said this in the other video, but anyway, you're probably gonna see this one first, regardless. But I used to have another scale. I did say it. I remember doing this. I used to have another scale that was about like yay big. It was perfect size for these for rod weight. I think that I left it in Florida. I think I did. I think I did make that boo-boo error. But anyway, I have this. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but I've already gave it a test run, and it looks like it's gonna be pretty accurate. So, okay, that looks like you can see pretty well. So rod number 1. Well. 405.4. Oh yeah, you can see it. .2. Oh wow. So it's 404.5, you couldn't see. And 404.5. Two exactly the same and two close to exactly the same. But anyway, I think oh shit. I'll do a quick run through one more time. See, god damn it, 405.3. 405.3. Son of a bitch. 404.5, so that one's consistent. And again, 404.5. Okay. So, yeah. Anyway, it's supposed to be what, plus or minus a gram, I think, is they're advertised as. I'll double check that later. But anyway, it's close enough where I'm not gonna trip on it too much. Anyway, so to mention real quick on how balancing is done. Usually, what you do, what a machine shop will do is they'll grind away at the big end, and that'll be where you make the weight difference. And balancing is just that, you're balancing out the weight. So like the 404.5 is your lowest number, right? That's your lowest number that you're finding on the rods. So what it is, you want to make them as close as you possibly can to get the best balance and all that shit. So you take the lowest number being 4.5, and then I guess what you could do is wrap the neck up real good, clamp it in a vise, and either by hand massage it with sandpaper, and then reweigh it, massage it, reweigh it until you get down to where you're at 404.5 or as close as you feel comfortable with taking it. And that's really all there is to it. So you're just taking off material to make the rods match. These are close enough where I'm not gonna stress doing that. But real quick, we're gonna check out the Pistons and see how they hold up in their measurement comparison. These should be a little bit easier because you just plop them on there. 210.5. Fuck. Two 10.6. Yeah, it's much better when you have a much wider scale, and I'm gonna go buy it again. I picked up the one I was talking about at Walmart. I think it was like maybe like 10, 15 bucks, something like that, real close to that price. Two 10.6. Oh, fuck. My bad, guys. Oh, fuck. Alright. That was the fattest one. Damn, this is close to perfect all the way across the board. And that one's 211. Alright. So that one's 0.5 heavier than the lightest one, and 0.4 heavier than the average. Tear it out one more time. Go through it one more time real quick. I mean, I double checked the rods, might as well double check the Pistons. So far, it's been 210.4, 210.4, and now it's 210.5. Let's see what the last one is. 211. So that one really is the fat one, but the other ones are fucking almost identical. So the Pistons actually come out on top on this one, man. The Pistons are closer than the fucking rods are. All right. So once upon a time, there was another guy that, like, back in the early days, was talking to me. He was doing his own YouTube thing. I haven't checked on his channel for a while, but the last time I checked on it wasn't too long ago. It didn't look like he was very active so much anymore. He was doing a K build, and he made a video like balancing pistons. And the way he was doing was kind of crazy. And he did acknowledge in the video that it was kind of crazy. And what he wound up doing was drilling a fucking hole through the piston he was trying to balance. So real quick on balancing pistons, if you're gonna do that. Like I was saying, how you take material off of the big ends of your rods to get the balance. you would do that. You would do your balancing along the inside of the skirt. So what you would do, and the balancing holds up to stock engines too. You can do this for stock engines if you want to. I guess it's just like if you want to play around and pretend to be mad scientists, you can balance your shit. I mean, yes, as close as you can get it, the better for your rotating assembly and all that bullshit. But plus or minus a half a gram or even a gram isn't going to be like a tremendous fucking gain or loss or whatever. But just again, to talk about how to do it, he was drilling like little holes in it. He was trying to like be easy and not run through like he eventually did. But he was taking out a little bit, taking out a little bit, taking out a little bit. What you do is you massage the skirts. You take like a sandstone, maybe a sandstone would probably be the safest way to do it, because you don't want to take out, like, you've seen how close the measurements are, so you don't want to take out too much. Really, you can take like one of those little grindstones and do a couple passes and probably be right on the money. So you take the grindstone, or do it even by hand, and you just massage at the skirt until you get it to where it matches the weight all the way across the board. You can kind of see how this is indented a little bit, so I guess you could rub it there too, also to take some meat out. But the way the breathing holes are in this piston design, I wouldn't fuck with it, because you might, burr it out. I don't know if you can see it too well, but you might burr it out and then want to fucking that up, and plugging that hole off. And you don't want to take that out, take out the whatever, what's just not. Yeah, I guess, I didn't weigh the fucking rod bolts, and I didn't weigh the wrist pins. So just in case any of you guys are going to be sticklers and be like, well, you didn't really weigh the piston. Yeah, I wanted to weigh the piston, I wanted to weigh the rod, and I'll probably weigh them all again once they're assembled. That's a possibility. Maybe not with this little scale I have, but by the time I go to do that, I'll probably have the big scale. Yeah, as far as any more accurate measurements or whatnot, I guess I could take the micrometer to where the wrist pin's at, or I could just do that. Yay, that feels pretty good. So clearance made. Anyway, so I guess I can do this while I'm talking to this at the same time. Measure out with a micrometer, or what would technically be the more proper way to do it would be like a bore tool, and you get in there and hit it with a bore tool. Make sure that the rod itself isn't out of round and all that bullshit. And I'm pretty sure the proper way to do that would be to actually torque down the cap, and then take your measurement off that. Yeah. Blueprinting, there's no one specific way to do it. Like, if you go online, you look for engine blueprint, there's going to be a whole bunch of different, like, self-made things that people use to check. There are some general things you could check, like, of course, like the in-ring gap and all that bullshit, and then your piston to wall clearance and all that stuff. But I guess that's the one good thing about doing the whole, like, machine shop shit. If you're doing the piston to wall clearance, it's going to be pretty exact, because you machine specifically for your piston size. Piston to wall clearance, I guess, is a bit more important when you're doing like an older build to see how much you have. But then again, like, your piston to wall clearance, you're taking measurements here and then measuring out the bore. And let me stop, because I'm going to go too far into it and make this video long, and the whole thing is to keep this short so it doesn't take 5 years to upload. All right, so that's it. We are looking at some pretty good numbers, man. I think I'm pretty satisfied with what I'm seeing here, and I'm not going to make any adjustments to the weight here. As far as checking out these rods any further, I might. I guess I'll just see how things go in the future. I actually have the block all stripped down and ready to go now, but I don't think I'm going to do anything with it tonight, simply because of the fact that it's already like 11. Last time I checked the clock was 11:30, and I got to go to work tomorrow in the morning because it's Monday, because fuck Monday. And yeah, so that's going to be it for tonight. As much as I would like to continue on, I can't, because I just don't have time. And but there's a possibility that I will force myself out here into action again, and I will start notching the block. I can't start notching. Oh, I could start notching the block, but I can't really get it all done tonight because of what I have to do to get there. So let's see. We're gonna keep on with this, and I guess I'll be back. And thanks guys for watching. Oh yeah, shit, I forgot to say this in the other video. But guys, if you want to inbox me any questions or whatnot, just inbox me your question. You don't need to ask my permission to ask a question, guys. So just any questions you have, just send them to my DMs, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. All my social media links or contacts are in the description below. Yeah. And somebody mentioned the other day if I was looking for a B18 crank still. Yes, I'm looking for a B18 crank still. I'm always looking for B18 cranks because B18 cranks are gold. That's like bread and butter, especially if I start doing the mass producing for the nip and racing blocks. So yeah, guy, if you didn't see that I messaged you back, definitely DM me and talk to me about that crank. And that's gonna be it, guys. Peace.